Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into the Lively Out Prepper Driftwood here. I was gonna put out a video breaking down the newest movie with Julia Roberts, um, the one directed by Obama, and I think if you've seen the movie, you have a pretty good idea of what's it about. I mean, lots of little Easter eggs on there. There's a section of the movie when they're walking through the house, and there's a picture with eyeballs. That's pretty indicative, in my opinion, and this is all my opinion, of the Illuminati and Freemasonry. And that picture in the background in the living room that constantly is changing. The first picture looks a whole lot like a sonogram of an unborn child. This movie seems to hit on a lot of the issues that seem to be dividing America these days. And it is directed, at least in part, or produced in part by Obama, both Michelle and Biden, and some other people. And one other thing, if you look at Ethan Hawke's T-shirt, the band that represents, Bikini Kill, is an extremely anti-American band. They're anarchist, anti-American. So when I said that it's an extremely anti-American movie, it is. It's an anti-American movie. It's an extremely anti-white American movie, and there should be ridicule for it. There's just so many little Easter eggs. Ethan Hawke goes up and he whispers over Julia Roberts' shoulder, "Oh, looking at a deer in Mayan culture represents a good look." Well, if you actually look up what it means when you see a deer, it represents disease, famine, and actually pretty terrible things. So there's a lot of little things in the movie that if you go through, you can find on your own. But I counted well over, I think it was about 115 Easter eggs with subliminal messaging that I picked up on pretty much just going through it frame by frame. And I kind of stopped there. You've got the T-shirt that says the boys' T-shirt and the girls' T-shirt, the two Caucasian kids, and the boys' T-shirt says "obey," and it's a picture of what, to me, in my opinion, looks like a black person's face on the T-shirt, and then the young girl is wearing a NASA T-shirt, which, if you know anything about NASA, there were a whole bunch of Nazi scientists that came into NASA. And the way that they're standing in unison almost in every picture is essentially saying black people obey the Nazis. And, that's pretty hardcore and foul, if you ask me. So the movie in itself, apart from being extremely slow and boring, was definitely full of Easter eggs, and I enjoying finding and looking for patterns and analyzing things. If you know anything about me, you know that I have a history in stock trading and interested in analyzing things. So I just wanted to put that out there. I didn't want to leave anybody who may have seen my little video before and cut you short. I am going to get to it down the road, but there's something else I want to talk about. I do watch these prepper shows, and I'm always interested in seeing what they have to say. They definitely throw some things out there to be aware of, but I wanted to raise a concern. And this is my concern, is when we watch TV shows or programming or media of any type, most of these places are trying to elicit a reaction. And my concern is that at no time in history, right, has any three-letter agency ever tried to use somebody or lure somebody into a situation just to use them later. So I would say be very cautious. Be very cautious about what you're posting online when you're watching these shows out there. And I've seen a lot of the same people watch a lot of the same videos. The Canadian Prepper, shout out, you do a pretty good job. Homestead Prepper, there's a long list of preppers, and you've got to ask yourself, why are they getting so many views when there's so many other preparedness channels out there? Why are these guys specifically getting so many views, so many followers? Is it their content? Is it what they're saying? Ask yourself, what is their history? Um, what is, what is their political following? Where do they sit? Are they a conservative? Are they a Democrat? Are they a moderate? If they believe in God, do they not believe in God? What God do they believe in if they do? Ask yourself, what is the intention? And if you have any sort of mental health, PTSD, bipolar, schizophrenia, any of those things out there, I would ask you to be extremely cautious when you're listening to these. These videos as a whole, I've noticed, are really put out there to elicit a reaction. They really drum up the emotions as much as they can, saying things like, oh, the government's going to take over. You're going to lose all your rights. They're going to take everything away. Um, and I mentioned this because of, going back and looking at this movie. Uh, the movie was released. There was a huge online response, negative towards these Easter eggs, the underlying meaning of the movie. And even after that, Biden comes out and makes a statement saying that there is a widespread terror attack possibility, and that these things could happen. Now, these are just my opinions, by the way, just my opinions. I wanna put that out there. I said the T word, but I just want people to think before they react online. These channels are meant to elicit a reaction, and if you have issues upstairs at all, think about how you react to that, and think about why they want you to react that way. Okay, think about if you're making comments that can get you in trouble. Think about if you're saying things or texting things that can get you in trouble. Um, it would not be unheard of for the government to try and elicit a reaction from one part of the population that believes a certain way so that they can get them in trouble, condemn the actions to try and prove a point. So essentially, it's entrapment, which is what it is in legal terms. So they're basically trying to entrap you to get a reaction to do something stupid. So don't fall for their tricks, okay? If you're going to prepare, do what real preppers do when they prepare. And, buy things in advance, stock up on things to make sure your family is taken care of if a collapse does happen. And think deeply about who you tell with what you're prepping with, if that makes sense. You don't want to go tell everybody the things you have or draw people and awareness to you if you're actually preparing. And don't overreact. Making a plan to take action is different than reacting. And if you've ever reacted to a situation out of being angry or jealous or upset or envious, you know what I mean. I've done it myself. Um, so think about the actions you're going to take, do them. Make sure that the people that you bring into your life, you know their history, you know their background. These are people you trust. These are people you would trust with your life. If you have kids like I do, make sure these are people that you would trust if something were to happen to you, taking care of your kids. Those are the kind of people you want to draw into your community of preparedness, and make a plan. I've seen a couple channels that I like, and there's some good references out there. Um, getting together with, if you're a guy, and this goes for women as well, getting together with a larger group, maybe 12 to 15 people and their families, making sure everybody knows if the SHTF happens, that you know your positions, you know what you're doing, you know where you're meeting, you know who's growing the vegetables, who's got the medical taken care of, who's, got the